Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to live stream on a Saturday. And today we are going to take a look at how to do some design work using Adobe Xd. I can't remember exactly what XD stands for again. Is it experimental design or is it user experience design? Something like that. But today what I'm going to look at is on the left right over there we have a very nice screenshot of a application that I kind of found online. If you want to find really good designs and just look for things like inspiration and how to get colors to match together, I do kind of suggest using Behance.com. It's a website that's owned by Adobe. And I've been kind of going onto that website pretty frequently as of late. I've been finding a lot of really good designs, and I might actually implement the code for these designs and then release the code on the website maybe later on. I am going to try to do my best today and go through some of the basics of designing with Adobe Xd. Do keep in mind that I haven't been using Xd for a super long time. I think maybe like 2 weeks. So if I do make a lot of mistakes on the live stream as to how I put these boxes together and how to drag images and use the fancy features of Xd, I don't know exactly how to use all that stuff just yet, but I'm trying to do my best to kind of walk you through my thought process of how these things are put together. So let me just show you what the actual design is going to look like here. And hopefully the audio is okay. No mono stereo audio problems this time. Okay, looks good. No one's complaining so far. So I'll try to keep the audio the way it is. Yeah, Joshua Behance is great. Audio is okay. And so here we go. Here is the design. I guess the design desktop is what you would call this guy. And let me just move this to where can you still see this? All right, so in the middle somewhere. Now I'm going to try to start off from the very top and then go downwards. I probably won't get to, let's see how far we get. I probably will make it down to the popular section here, and then we'll try to see if I can design this entire cell with the Michelle Obama, the couple of stars down here, 291, and also whatever's down here, the text, the title for the book, and also I guess this is the title and this is the author here. All right, got a notification you were live. Jump right in, Alex C. Glad to have you, man. Please tell me where I can start learning iOS development. The internet is a pretty good place, right? I hope you guys do agree with me there. So I'm gonna try to put this on the top right, and okay, so the top right is gonna be the goal for today's video, and I'll probably drag this out of the way. I think I want to turn on my mouse highlighter. So there's a very nice tool called PMouse, which is this guy. It allows me to kind of highlight things like this. So whenever I click, I get this yellow thing, and you can modify the program to be whatever color you want. So what kind of color do you guys want today? I think I'll go with red. Does that look okay? All right, so that looks fine. And I'll move this sucker out of the screen for y'all. All right, let me check how the stream is doing. So go back to full screen mode here. I've been playing a lot with OBS and a lot of the scene highlighting or scene transitions to make it a little bit more interesting. Dills Mackinoff says, I got a stream or got a job recently, by the way. Awesome, Dills. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Dills. And yeah, let us know, Dills, what kind of job you got and how much they're paying you. A lot of people ask me that. You don't have to say. Okay, so the live dashboard. All right, we got 74 people watching. And today I'm going to be trying to keep my voice not too shot. So I'm going to have a little bit of beer. This is Lagunitas IPA. I bought this last night. And if you guys are, ready to have some fun today, I'm going to drink some beer together, try to do some design. I don't really do a lot of design work on this channel, so hopefully I can make this more of a stable type of video or theme for the channel. Hopefully I can get this freaking thing open. All right, there we go. I know this is like major overkill for opening up a bottle. These aren't twist off caps, kids. Oh God. All right, there we go. Not even sure if YouTube allows you to start drinking alcohol on streams. Oh God, it's getting hot in this room. Okay, Abdu Et. How you doing, man? Happy Saturday. Or for some of you guys, it might even be Sunday by now. Yeah, for sure, drunk streams aren't quite common. All right. So if you guys are gonna have a drink yourself, make sure to let me know what kind of drink you're having. Man, this is good. The only problem is I took it out of the fridge a little bit too early, and now it's somewhat room temperature. All right, cool. I think we're ready to go today. Good luck for today. All right, so for anyone that has just joined the stream, we are designing what you're seeing on the left side. It's a design that I found on Behance, and we're going to try to work from top all the way to the bottom using Adobe Xd. Hopefully this can give you guys a little bit of insight as to how I approach the whole concept of design, and what elements go together with other elements, and how to just make things spaced out correctly, padding, colors, and just overall using the iOS guidelines to make sure your designs are okay. A lot of you guys tend to submit applications to me that let's just say the design isn't exactly perfect. That's just being very nice about it. Like some people honestly submit some really ugly applications, and it's not that hard, right? Google is available. Just go on the websites like Dribble or Behance, and you find really nice designs like what you're seeing over here, and just try to use something professional. If you're submitting an application that's ugly, that really looks bad on you, I would almost suggest that you don't include any ugly portfolio apps in your portfolio, because it doesn't really do any favors. So enough about that, and enough talking. So let's go ahead and try to figure out how to start making this design, right? Okay, so if you guys aren't familiar with how Adobe Xd works, usually you start off with like some kind of new panel like this, and here is the panel. It looks kind of like that. One of the full screens that I have designed is the AppStore one, which kind of looks like this. So if you do a ton of work and you have all your layouts designed out correctly, you'll have a lot of different I guess artboards is what you call one of these guys. So here's one artboard, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth, and you can make it look really, really nice. I don't normally do this, but there was a user that recommended that he kind of wanted like an Adobe Xd design file for one of the courses. So I went ahead and spent some time to learn this application and figure out how it's all done. And for the most part, it's like rather simple to design everything out. You also have this prototype mode that allows you to kind of hook things up together. I don't think I'll be going over like this prototype mode in today's video, but we'll see. If I get drunk enough on Lagunitas IPA, maybe I'll do it. But anyhow, we're gonna try to get something decent going on. And why don't we get started? This is great. All right, so some questions on the chat. Why Adobe XD opposed to other software? Well, I pay for Adobe. And this isn't really a good reason, but I pay for the Adobe package for like $50 a month. So, might as well use the rest of Adobe's software suite. Yeah, not a super good reason. I think Sketch also works just as well, probably better in some certain aspects of the design process. But anyways, let me stop talking and actually go and do this. All right, cool. So first thing I will want to do is I want to start off with the actual, let's say, status bar at the very top of the screen, which should be somewhere right here. And well, you can actually type in things like this, like, what is it right now, 9:41. You can start typing the text out, right? But obviously you don't exactly want to do this. I mean, you could, but I rarely like doing things like that. So, you can download the UI kit design file for Adobe XD and just copy the status bar symbols. So let me just backspace out of that. I'm gonna go onto here, and so here is my status bar area. So I'm just gonna copy that. I think I'm gonna get that in my clipboard and just paste it in here. So anytime you have these symbols or components that you don't want to redesign over and over, you can just copy it from your other projects, and you're good to go. You don't want to repeat yourself. It's just like coding. Never try to repeat yourself over and over, which is something I do on this stream a lot when I talk. But here we go. I have used XD and I like it. Yeah, I kind of like it a lot, really. I might start using it more. If any of you guys are curious about this file here, I have it available on the it's on the website. So if you go check out the course link on the very bottom, the AppStore course link, and you scroll down a little bit to the mocks design area, this entire file is available for Adobe XD for you to download for free. And so I'm providing this stuff for free, and you can get access to all those icons. So if you want to check it out, and Adobe XD is free. Is it free? I think there is like a discount package for Adobe XD. So make sure to just download that. You don't have to buy it. Man, doing a live stream with beer is a good idea. Okay, anyhow, I am going to make a little square thing here. All right, so you can drag the square however you want. And I'm just gonna modify this here to be 50-50. That looks decent. And next thing I will do is 50 by 50. I think this is the best way of making a rounded circle. So 25. You can fill this with whatever you want. And there you go. Click out of it somewhere over here. Looks like that. It has a stroke on it. I don't really like these stroke borders, so let me just disable that. And now that you have this circle area, you just want to drag in any type of image that you want. So I'm gonna find an image really quickly here, and okay, so finding images live is kind of hard. Okay, so I'm gonna use this one here, and let's see. So this one kind of looks like that. So you just want to drag these images into these locations, and that's what I have for there. That's not that interesting. So let me find a better one. So this one, I just have a ton of projects, and eventually I'll get to the assets that I want. Okay, and here it is. So bam, we have this Fox profile image now. So pretty easy, right? It's around $10 a month for Adobe XD. I believe if you're a student, you can get the free student edition, and if you're you know, if you're not a student, then you can pay for it. So basically, you are practicing it. Yeah, I'm kind of practicing Adobe Xd today. I know how to use it pretty well already, but you know, that's what we're gonna do today. So let me try to design some boxes over here. So let's see, here is my white box. I don't know if the background is exactly white, but here's one of my icons here. I'm gonna create a shadow. I'll say a shadow here. Take off the border. And there you go. So shadow, let me just take this down to 0. Increase the blur a little bit, so 15. And then we'll make the shadow a little bit fainter like that. Is that how this looks like? I have too many windows going on here. And so it looks like somewhat looks decent, I guess. So I think it's rounded. Is it rounded? No, it's not rounded. Okay. So what is this? So 30. What does 30 look like? So yeah, you know, experiment with these little designs. Okay, so here is one of these icons, and you can actually drag in icons in this guy. And let me see. What do I want to do for my icons here? Okay, so let me bring out another application, and you know, you guys probably have a ton of assets on your computer already, but let's see, do I have a search icon? No. Okay, looks like I don't have a search icon here. And let's see. Okay, so I have a search icon. Okay, so let me grab this here and just drag that in there. Okay, so that looks weird. I don't exactly like how large this thing is. So whenever you drag an image into a box like that, it tends to fill up the entire thing. So I don't like that particular approach. So what I'll do instead is I'll just drag in the image directly. So just drag it in somewhere here and just resize this guy. You know, I think it's constrained by the width and height. So, you know, drag that little bad boy in there and make sure it's aligned correctly. So 14, 15. This guy, let's make sure that it's actually 50. Okay, so now this guy should be okay. Cool. Now that we have that out of the way, we are going to we're going to do something called a grid. So can I fill this thing? Fill. So when you fill these guys, it does that, which I don't like. So what I want to do here. So to get away from this problem where the fill takes up the entire color, I like to get the path for these objects. And what I mean is, so let me see if I can do this correctly here. So if you have Adobe Illustrator, you can actually design these path objects like this. So let me just show you what I mean by copying and pasting this from my AppStore project. So this is actually a path, and the path, it's a vector, so you can resize it and you can do some things like a fill. Okay, so let me just show you quickly what I mean. So can you move in here somewhere? Okay, that looks decent. And yeah, so not bad. So let's see how these like objects, so that you can change the fill. So I'm going to change the fill to be this color. So I'm just using the eyedropper for the actual color. I selected it from from the actual image. Yeah, I think Sketch is more popular than XD. Yeah, probably. All right, let me move on here because I feel like what you want to do is you want to do repeat grid, and wow, that's really large. Okay, don't exactly want to do that. So I think the shadow is too large here. So let me take the shadow down, something like 5. Maybe 5. Okay, 10 maybe. So if you do repeat grid like this, you can do something like this. I don't know if I like that though. Okay, so let's do that and repeat grid. Yeah. I don't know. How do you space out the grid correctly? That's something that I never learned how to do. So this grid, I think if you minimize it like that, you can do something like this. Okay, so that looks decent. And I believe you can swap out these images any way that you want. So let's see if I can get another image going here. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this icon here and take this and put this guy in here maybe. Okay, so it looks like you can't replace images correctly. So this repeat grid thing is kind of silly sometimes. I don't like this repeat grid approach. So let me just undo everything and take it back to what it once was. Just like that. And what you can do is just copy and paste. Like let's go back to the basics of copying and pasting. Right? Sometimes copying and pasting isn't the best thing to do, but you know, it's what you gotta do sometimes. Okay, so let me get that. Let me get you out of the way. Replace you with that. Something like that. Looks okay. Fill. Click on that. And that. Okay. So obviously you can modify the colors to be exactly what you want for your design. You know, this is just simply how you would do something like this. And let's kind of get going here. Next thing I'll do is the kind of horizontal collection view that's right underneath it. So I'm gonna hold shift to get a perfect square. And that looks okay. We are going to round off the corners a little bit here. So let's try to get a gradient going here. So linear gradient, make sure this guy is somewhere right here to right there. Grab the eyedropper, click on the color. Let's say no, I actually want the bottom right, which is this red color, and then the top left, which is this dot here. Take the color. So you know, that's pretty much how you do gradients. Okay, cool. Remove the border. Make this, I don't know, 4 maybe. 4? 5. Okay, 5 looks better. And let's say shadow. And let's see, where are we at here? 5. 5. Is that? Let's see, 3. 3, 3. And let's see, 10. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on shadows here, but you know, you get the idea. Can you do something useful in Xcode with what you create with Adobe Xd, or you have to redo the whole thing from scratch in Xcode? So, I think back in the day, I used to not really like designing things before coding it out. And, there are pros and cons to actually using a tool like this. But sometimes it's helpful to have something to look at while you're coding. Because if you don't have your designs already done beforehand, sometimes you're just kind of like wasting your time a little bit trying to figure out, colors and spacing. You kind of want this stuff all planned out ahead of time. So, you can obviously just go straight into Xcode and start coding. But even I don't do that. I normally look at the app that I'm trying to build through some kind of screenshot. And whenever that's available to me, then I just go into the code. So somebody has to do this. And if you're a really good designer, you can actually make quite a bit of money, right? And you get paid. What is the designer salary ranges from like 90K to 120, I would say. 120, that sounds like a lot. But yeah, you can obviously make more money if you work contracting, I guess. So you see I'm doing a lot of copying and pasting, right? I think this needs to be trailed off to the corner a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna expand this a little bit. So, okay, so click on that. Looks like that right now. You're gonna have to obviously modify this. So let me just do one of these things here. And I actually really enjoy the design process. I do spend a lot of time looking at nice designs. I feel like when you're trying to learn how to code, all you're focused on is how to control a table view and how to create a UI collection view and populate image views and stuff like that. And while that is pretty important, I don't really think that's the most important thing to do if you're trying to get a job, really. Because overall, still the most important thing for you to do is to present something that looks nice to your employer. And you really have to have a good sense of what we call design and user experience. So whenever you see something that doesn't make any sense design-wise, you have to be able to point it out and tell your employer that, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we have some icons here. And, one of the most annoying things about design is that you have to find these icons all the time. If you actually buy these design files from Behance, then obviously you have access to the icons, but I don't. So let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm just going to grab another icon. All right, we are going to have a limited icon set for today's video. So let me grab this one here, copy that, and there, let's see, just change the fill color to white. And here we go. We have our icon. So obviously you can resize this there and, add venture. What is this? Helvetica? No, we don't want that. We want SF. ProText. We don't want the bold. Let's go with regular. 12. And white. Alright, cool. Let's see. What are you here? What are you? the art of choosing the right fonts and sizes. Usually this process takes forever for me, but that looks decent, right? I know I'm saying the word decent a lot. And there we go. That's centered. I can't really tell if these objects are centered. You can actually use the centering tool. I think it's something like this. And yeah, one of these tools will center it for you. Align middle. Click on that. Okay, align middle like that. Okay, I guess that's a little better. Anyhow. CircCOL, thanks for the 99 cents in donation. Enjoy the Lagunitas. Thanks, man. It is beer in the morning. Go for icon finder and icons 8. Okay. So let me try to find a better icon. Icons8.com. I think I like this site. Maybe a little bit better. So let's see. Adventure. I'm just typing this off the screen. I am going to take Adventure, download the SVG. How do you download the download SVG? You have to buy the SVG? Come on. I'm not going to buy the SVG for $19.99 a month. That's insane. Okay, what's a better way of doing this? Iconfinder.com. What's a free icon site? What's a free icon site? See, these are all not free. Flaticon.com. So I think I like flaticon.com too. Okay, we're gonna just click one of these guys here. They all have these money icons. Can I like get a free icon, please? Can I get a free icon? Premium download? Let me just get a free download, please. Okay. Okay. The thing with Adobe Xd that's kind of annoying is that when you try to drag an SVG in here, does it work? Okay. Cool. So that's my bus. Hopefully I can get the fill to work. Okay, good. 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 Nice. So if you want free icons, go to flaticon.com. I'm not using this for production, but you have to make sure to give credit to your icons creators. Okay, there we go. I'm not really sure why a bus represents an adventure, but that's what we have. Thanks for the suggestion, Marco. And again, if you're just joining the live stream now, today we are drinking for the live stream, having a nice beer. And we're doing design work. Okay. You've said this before, but when would I expect the new projects on the website? I'm trying to do some different things with the website. I'm trying to get away from making so many videos, actually, because that gets a little like physically tiring, also mentally tiring too. I don't know. I'm trying to provide only source code projects, maybe with some documentation as to how the source code works. But I feel like I can provide more value if I just do source code. Okay, so I think all of you guys pretty much get the idea of how Adobe Xd works, right? Do I need to go any further? Maybe. So let's just do the next row. You know, when you're designing, I think it's really fun if you're just designing by yourself. Okay, what is it? Semi-bold, bold, semi-bold. Sometimes I can't really tell the difference between bold, and semi-bold. You know, I guess most of the time I just use bold because it's easier to type in Xcode. But that's kind of what we get. Jesus. Okay, let's try to get this bestseller code. The bestseller code book. The bestseller code. I'm going to take the image directly from Google. Okay, we're going to use this one. Copy image and paste. Wow. Will I get in trouble for using other people's book cover art? I certainly hope not. But if someone flags me, I mean, they should be paying me to promote their book cover at this point, right? I don't even know what this book is about. The Anatomy of the Blockbuster Novel. Is this a book about selling books? That's so meta, dude. It's so meta. Okay. Where's my thing here? All right. Let's try to get going a little bit faster. So, hello from Kashmir. Hello from California. Okay, that. No. That. How do we do this? We double click on this, we click on layers. I think I want to put it behind the actual image. Put it up above like that, and down. Okay. So, you know, obviously you can move the layers around on the left panel. Fill. So let's click on this guy on the right. Click on the fill here. Remove the border. I don't know why designers hate borders so much. Did like they all come together for a meeting and decided to go to war with borders? I mean, what did borders do to them, right? How do I get this rectangle? So this is a path. I didn't want a path. Let me get a rectangle, please. How did this become a path? What the hell? Okay. Anyhow. Border. Okay. 16? No, that's too much. Let's go with 12 here. Yeah, let's go with 8. Okay, so it looks like all of the designers favor the corner radius of 8 instead of anything else. Don't ask me why. That's what designers feel like is the best corner radius. I guess it's half of 16, which is another number that they like a lot. Why is this thing so fat? I don't like how fat this is compared to the mock. Anyhow. Can you tell me how to export these assets for 1x, 2x, 3x? So in order to export these assets, let's say I want to export this bus asset, right? You can do something like click on this thing and file, export, and export selected. So whenever this thing comes out, you want to export for 1x, I think, right? Now, once you do this, let's go to the image buckets. You are going to click on iOS and design for 1x, and all the assets will be provided as 1x, 2x, and 3x. So let me just show you. Export. Go to my Finder. The image buckets is here. So once you do that, you have these 3 things right here. So bus 1, 2, and 3, and bus 1 will look kind of like that. And then we have bus 2 and bus 3. So it'll adjust all of the sizes for your icons according to how large you design the screen. So this is just zoomed in. If I hit Command 1, it'll zoom out to the regular 100% value, which obviously is much smaller than it was before. And the icons will be exported accordingly. That's another nice feature about Adobe Xd. It's really easy to just export files, which, if you were kind of like me in the past and you just used Adobe Photoshop all the time, then you'll realize how painful it is to export icons, PNGs. You'd have to do it manually. There's probably a way to do it using like 1x, 2x, and 3x, but I never figured out how. Anyhow, let's see. How quickly can we get this done? Designers do get paid a lot, and I think they get paid fairly for the amount of work they put into these designs. But I think once you get used to how this works, like how designing rectangles and squares and picking colors, it gets easier over time. Enemy of a... No, do I want to do this? No, I think I want to do this. I think I want to do this like text mode thing. How do you change the text of this? So right click. Okay, yeah, you want to click on this thing because this right here on the right side is like area text, which means that if you just start typing, right? No, if you start typing here, you can just hit backspace, anatomy, it'll just line break to the next one. Anatomy of a block. So block buster novel. Okay, sounds okay. Obviously change that to white, give it a nice shadow. Yeah, take this down maybe to 3. Who knows? Do whatever you want. And so having designed a couple of different screens for Adobe Xd, I kind of understand why people like the storyboard so much, because like you can see what's going on in your app. But as a programmer, I understand why it's a bad idea to use a storyboard. But it's nice. You get all your screens laid out, and for the most part, most apps are like not that complicated. So using a storyboard seems to work. So Matthew L. Jackets. Okay. That. And let's take this down a couple, 14 maybe. Okay. Okay. That looks fine. How do you design these page control dots? How would you do a tint gradient? What's a tint gradient? Is it something different compared to this gradient here? What exactly is a tint gradient? I don't like how far that is from the top. So that look better. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. It's looking better. You don't know how much time I obsess over like spacing. This looks a little far from the side. So let's move that to the right. And looking good. So I think these guys do have a corner radius. So let's change this to like 5. Okay. I always like my buttons to have a corner radius. Don't ask me why, but I think it just looks smoother and nicer. Hey man, your channel is awesome. I just randomly ran into a video that solved perfectly the exact problem I was having with my code. Yeah, that's what the channel is for. Okay, so we're gonna do some copying and pasting here. So I'm just dragging that and popular. Okay. Yeah, so anyhow, I think you guys get the idea here. Right? Let's see more. This medium. Actually, I think this is like a different font. Is it? I can't really tell anymore. Let's go with some kind of grayish color here. 12 maybe. Yeah. That's okay. So that, yeah. Okay, so I'm just holding command and using the mouse wheel. All right, let's draw this Michelle Obama book and call it a day here. Okay, Michelle Obama book. Looks like Google knows exactly what I want to search for. Book. Let's see. Let's see. Oh my God. These book covers are so large. Copy image. Let's paste it in here. Oh God. Look at Michelle Obama's teeth. Let's critique her teeth, okay? I actually had Invisalign braces like a long time ago when I was 21 years old. And I had like this gap, or I don't know what you call it. But obviously I think my teeth were bunched together. So Invisalign braces kind of helped a little bit. And then I stopped. I failed to use my retainer and my teeth kind of moved back. Anyhow, let's not turn the stream into teeth analysis. Okay. That's okay. Looks okay. Let's give this a nice shadow here. So it looks like I need to fit like 3 of these images together. I think I can do something like this here. So let me just type in Michelle Obama. I want to make sure that I can get 3 of these cells in. So I'm going to use a repeated grid this time. And that looks decent. Everything looks kind of decent today. No, that's not what I want. The thing with the eyedropper is that sometimes you misclick. So the mouse is a little funny today. Okay. Let's try to drag this down here. Becoming. I'm not a really big fan of Michelle Obama, really. I feel like just because you were the president's wife, like what real skill do you really have aside from being the wife of the president? I don't know what skill she has really. If you're a fan of Michelle Obama just because she's the president's wife, I don't know. I think you have really low standards for people that you consider, I don't know, role models. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying she's bad, but I'm saying that I don't really know what she represents. I know she was on Oprah a couple of times, and she's known for what her outfit and her fashion choices. If you're not from America, then you probably don't know that Michelle Obama is known for wearing these like sleeveless shirts. It's really ridiculous. Matthew Stevens, remember when you came to Mexico? Yeah, I do remember. And I think I know the icon that you're using. You were sitting on the right side of me when I was giving the talk at Mix School. Most people love her because of her gender or the color of her skin. Yeah, most people seem to be really color conscious these days, even though they seem to be they claim to be colorblind to race and the color of people's skin, but for some reason they really like colored people. So that's kind of really ironic, or hypocritical is the word they're using these days. I don't really fall into the camp of just liking people for the color of their skin. I don't know. I don't really want to make this a political live stream. If you guys were to guess which side of the political spectrum that I align with, what would you guys guess? I'm curious. The climate we live in nowadays is hypocrisy. Yes, indeed. T Wei, Huang Zhao, Wei Zong Zhao. Chill, bro. Yeah. I would have admiration for Michelle Obama. I think she did some good things with the. I think her humanitarian efforts were a good thing. Like she really used her platform well because she was the first lady in the White House, and she was able to use that platform to help other people. So, like that's a pretty honorable and admirable thing to do. And yeah, so that's that for her. Colored people sounds like photoshopped people. I feel like you're liberal, but there are Republican ideals you align with. Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. I don't really align myself with the left or the right. I kind of align myself with reasonable people, which I don't really find on either side of the spectrum that much. But I find the crazy news on YouTube to be entertaining. And if you're really bored, then you can just watch the news and listen to how ridiculous society has become. I hear the left has started protesting gay pride parades. I think it's, the real story is that the transsexual community is protesting the gay pride activist community, and they actually they were able to manage the closing of one of the gay pride conventions in, I'm not sure what city, maybe San Francisco. No, I don't know what city it was, but they were able to shut it down, and it's really weird. I don't know what's going on over there anymore. Repeat grid. So repeat grid, drag this guy over and over. Look at that, so easy. Right, imagine if it was this easy, just using Xcode, building out your horizontal collection view, just dragging it over will give you a new cell. That's pretty fantastic, right? And the thing about these grids is you can even replace these images with whatever you want. So let's say I want to replace it with this this image called Educated by Tara Westover. So Educated Tara Westover. Kind of reminds me, I think last week I put out this poll on Twitter that asked people if college was a big waste of time or if college is a scam. And I was kind of surprised by the Twitter poll results. And then I thought about it for a little bit and it started to make sense to me. Okay, so I'm just dragging images onto these cells now. The good thing about repeated grids is that you can just drag things onto the cell. It actually will replace it. I think you can change two different things about repeated grids is images and also the text inside of images. So I believe you can change this also. And Tara Westover. You can modify this to be educated. Right. Ramesh Pereira, thank you for the €2. And hi Brian, I thought that for writing in this chat you need to pay. You don't have to pay. You just want to be able to, yeah, just leave a chat, you know? You don't have to pay anything. We're just having fun here. This beer is really getting to me. There's one time I got drunk off just having one beer. I must have not like had any food, or I must have not had my dinner. But I remember going to like a friend's party and just one beer got me so buzzed. It was insane. Haven't drank beer in a while. This is what we have at my parents' house. Lagunitas IPA. No refund. Happy to donate. You know, I'm really happy to have everyone's support. It really means a lot because I do spend a lot of time on these tutorials and these videos that I do. As long as I'm helping people out, I'm happy. And it seems like people are okay. So Rachel Hollis. Where's this book? Books. Girl, watch your face. Girl, watch your face. Sometimes when I have to make these designs and these mocks, I have to do searches on these books and book covers. And it gets kind of funny. Like I would otherwise never know about these books at all. Okay, so we're just gonna drag that in here. Rachel Hollis. Okay, looks like we're approaching the end of this. So it's called Girl, Wash Your Face. I guess to be more technically correct, you have to capitalize all of these words inside of a title. Not really sure who came up with that rule, but that's all we've been sticking with it for the past 100 years. We appreciate your quality content. I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. I got my first app on the store because of your Firebase series. Nice. I do plan on releasing a non-Firebase backend application tutorial later this year. Too much low quality garbage for tutorials, both in the beginner and intermediate level. Your content is way above everything else I have come across. Yeah. So I was mentioning to my friend T-Way here yesterday that 3 years ago when I left my job at Touch of Modern, I started noticing a couple of things on the internet about boot camps and online education, and just having a look at what was available online, like YouTube and Udemy. No, let's not talk about Udemy for now. But there was a ton of websites offering these super basic beginner tutorials and education services. Now, I quickly realized that there weren't any intermediate to advanced level topics that were being offered by these services. So for example, Udacity was like a pretty famous, they had a nano degree program, and I was just looking through the course contents and the syllabus and curriculum, and I noticed that nothing was really that hard inside that curriculum. And even if you took that course, you still wouldn't be able to get a real job in the real world. So I quickly realized that if there was someone that were to like provide advanced material such as what I'm doing on this channel, then it should become like pretty popular, because you can see there's a lot of demand for the beginner topics, and whenever they can't find anything more advanced, then they're kind of out of luck. So being able to provide this type of service for people was a choice I made, and it looks like it's worked out. Can I ask if you will make the course with this prototype and make in Adobe Xd? Let me know if you guys want to see me do this. I mean, should I make it a paid course? Should I make it paid? If I make it paid, I do much more. If I make it free on YouTube, I just kind of go with the bare minimum. So I don't know. I don't know how in depth you want me to go into. Exactly, I would consider myself an intermediate in iOS Dev and Swift. The only place I could really go for anything more advanced was Stack Overflow. Yeah. Where am I getting the assets? The internet. Just like everyone else, we get our assets from the internet. What is the demand like for UX and UI designers? I don't really know the answer to that question, really. So one more thing about these designs is that you see how the mock that we have on the top left, what happened to my image? Okay, it's the top left, not top right, I mean. The other left. So these screens are a lot taller than the standard iPhone X screen resolution. So if you want to make this modification to the actual size of this, you can just go here, obviously, bump this up to 1000 and you'll get more spacing down below. Yeah, I think you can make this an entire repeated grid as well. So let's try to do this. So repeat grid here, drag this down, and you get another one. So this is one of the things that I like about Adobe Xd, obviously. And there you go. So if you zoom out a little bit more, all of your designs look like so. And I think you can just replace these images down here with whatever. So you click on popular here, just new, that's modifiable. If you want to change the font of these things, I think they are, so Michelle Obama on the left here. I think it'll propagate all of the changes to all of the cells that are inside of this repeated grid. So let's see if that's true by changing the font to something larger, like 20. Yeah, that changes the font for every one of the cells. So obviously, let me undo that. Obviously, a lot of different things that you can do in Adobe XD. I would like to get your Instagram Firebase course. Is it updated to the latest Swift syntax? Yeah. The video was recorded using Swift 3.2. Was there been Swift 3.2? I think it was using Swift 3.1 or something. But I went through all of the videos, all the lessons, and the projects that you can download have all been updated to Swift 4.2, which is also compatible with Swift 5.0. So all of the source code is updated. It's just some of the videos have some like older syntax to it. Yeah, everything's also been updated to Swift Firebase 5.0 also. Yeah. This app on the iPad has some changes from the front, different from the iPhone. So I think it would be nice if you took a course making the front end of this app as in the App Store. This app on the iPad. What do you mean by this app? Has some changes from the front. What do you mean by this app? So yeah, Vinicius, if you can clarify what you mean a little bit more. I have some guesses, but I don't think I understand you correctly. Okay. That is maybe gonna be the live stream for today. Yeah. Hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed the process of me designing things very slowly today. Whenever you have to build out your Xcode projects, make sure it looks nicer. Make sure you have the design down to 90% of what you want to have written out. Obviously you can make changes and you can modify your designs with tweaks here and there, but you should have a pretty good idea as to what the overall feel and look of your app needs to be before you start actually coding. When I have these designs, I always keep in mind that the design is going to change later down the road. So, in the past, I've had applications with version 1.0 releases, and over time, version 1.1, 2, and 3. The design changes over time, and by the time you get to version 1.9, then you can barely recognize the application anymore. So the way I approach having a lot of different design changes is to make sure that you're aware that changes will occur. And so let's say a corner radius has to be changed from 8 to 12. Then you want to make sure that making that change is going to be easy across your entire application. So let's say all of these cells, right? Let's say all of these cells have a corner radius of 5. And then the designer decides that, okay, let's change everything to have a corner radius of 12 now. Well, if you have all of your corner radius established in code, you can just look at one file and modify all of the numbers in that one file, like the design or the theme of the entire project. You just modify these numbers. If you have everything in storyboard, you can just go into every storyboard and click into everything, make sure the corner radius is set to the right number, then that'll work for you. Yeah, so you do have to think about allowing for changes in the future so that when you make your modifications, you don't totally destroy your code base. And over time, I feel like you'll get more experience as to what needs to be coded out with a hard constant, and then what needs to be refactored into a more dynamic variable. And yeah, you just get better at this aspect of application development over time. You said you are realizing new courses. What are you planning to release, and can you tell me more about it? So new courses, I don't know. Last week I downloaded the YouTube project. I'm surprised it's updated with Swift 4.2. Yeah, it took me a long time to update all of the free courses to Swift 4.2. And I also updated the paid courses on the website to Swift 4.2 also. It took me half a day to update every project, every lesson to Swift 4.2. If someone knows of a better way of updating a zip file, like updating 30 zip files to be a new Swift version, if someone has a better idea as to how to do it other than manually updating it in Xcode, manually clicking the conversion button to Swift 4.2 or Swift 5.0. If there's a better way, please let me know. I made some tools to make it easier, but aside from just having one single repository on like GitHub, even then using that would be hard because every lesson has a different download, different sample project download, and making all that available with different Swift versions seems nearly impossible to me. But maybe there's an approach that I haven't really thought of. I don't know. Tom Zion, keep up this good work for helping people from all over the world get better in this. T-Way says, really appreciating updating those projects. Yeah. A lot of those files are still really helpful for anyone that's really trying to learn how to develop, somewhat more advanced applications. May I ask what video camera you use? I'm watching on PS4 big screen HD and it's crystal clear picture. It could be better. I do plan on buying a new camera maybe later down the road. I've had this camera for 3 years now. It's a Panasonic GH4 and it has a pretty good lens on it. I think this lens is $300. I bought it off eBay and it could be better, but I'm glad it's coming in crystal clear. Chris Kedenbach. Let's see, what else is there to talk about today? Any other questions for me before I go grab some breakfast? No. It's already 11:20, so I'll probably grab some lunch. Don't know exactly what I'll have just yet. And looks like people have fallen asleep on the stream already. Okay, so Kirk Washington says, I just got your Instagram course and I'm attempting to complete the course using Firestore instead of real-time database. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, Kirk. I believe you... what do I want to say? So I tried using Firestore for some like simple things, some very simple things that you can do using real-time database. I found that Firestore overcomplicates the data structure of your model objects. I find that it's hard to link things together using Firestore because everything's like a document. And I had to rethink my approach to mapping out the objects that I want. And overall, I actually feel like a real-time database has the better structuring of data using nodes. But maybe I haven't really, I've used Firestore for quite some time too. And I don't know, I just don't like the document structure that much. Meh. Chris says, have you completely abandoned Flutter? I like both Swift and Dart actually. I haven't abandoned Flutter. Nice silver button. Silver play button perhaps. Can have a closer look. So when I was moving, I really busted the play button. A lot of the engraving of my name and channel has already been chipped off. I mean, I can show you really quickly. Let me grab the plaque. All right. So here is the chipped off paint. So you can see it says "Let's Be You," hap. And yeah, that's what the stream looks like too. You can see the reflection. So it took me a while to get this actually, like 2 years or maybe 3 years. I don't really care about it that much. It's just, just whatever. If you've been on YouTube for long enough, you realize how kind of meaningless subscribers are nowadays. I've got my Firebase project hacked and got a bill from Google for $10K. Any advice for Firebase security? So you should definitely lock down your Firebase project. And I feel like Google's pretty generous about this type of thing. I remember I was, I think my AWS, like long time ago, my Amazon machine got hacked too. And I told them about it and they said, yeah, we'll just take care of it. They billed me for like $1,000 and they said, yeah, it's fine. And then they got rid of the bill and everything was good. So I believe Google's pretty friendly with their bill also. New flat. So yeah, this is kind of a new flat. It's a new condo that I'm renting out now. Road to 1 million subs. I don't really know if I'll ever reach 1 million subs. I think 200,000 is the goal for me now, and anything beyond that is just, it's nice. If you guys want to see outside the window there, it's like super bright. Maybe I turn down the exposure here. Open up the window. How does that look? Thank you for the support to beginning learners. It's a nice day out. I probably shouldn't be spending it with you guys. Okay, so what should I do with this design file? I think I will allow you guys to download this design file somehow. Maybe I'll just email everyone and send this as a project download on the blog page. How many of you guys read the blog anyways? I haven't updated the blog in forever. I think most of you guys probably don't even know there's a blog section on the website. So which course, what is upcoming next? I remember showing you guys a couple of different apps that I was working on in the last stream. I don't have anything new actually. Yeah, so I'm looking at my simulator and there's nothing new here. So here's the let me go back to the coding screen. So here's the app that I might release. I might just release the source code. So, looks nice. Design's good. And lately everyone seems to be really in love with light mode versus dark mode. So once you have light mode, you can go with dark mode. I think it's a good option, but if you spend too much time on what I would consider superficial features, like you don't want to waste too much time on this type of thing, right? So clear, vegetarian, that, X, images back to dark mode, and click on the filter again. Okay, Italian, pasta, salads, vegetarian, clear, and I'm pretty sure you guys get the idea, right? So I plan on adding a couple of different screens to this app, and then I'll release this on the website to people that are interested in buying the source code. I don't know. Let me know. Do you guys feel like, do you guys need a video code a video code along for an application like this. Obviously I built it, so I know exactly what the source code looks like, but do you guys care about the source code, or do you guys care about the videos? Because I can just release the source code, it'll be a lot faster. And then if you guys want like another project, I can just release another project really quickly. It only takes me like a week. Probably takes me like, yeah, a week to build out everything that I want inside of an application. Then I can just release it. And instead of making like a video for a month, I'm making like a set of 40 videos over a month. I can just keep on pumping out these projects for you guys, and you guys just buy whatever you want. So that's what I actually want to do, that for the rest of this year, and see how that strategy pans out. Because I don't know, making videos, it's nice, but do you guys really need the videos? I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll come back, and then I'll probably end the stream for you guys. All right, so chat amongst yourselves. Let's see, we are back. These approachable projects in Flutter, but I don't know how to do it in Xcode and Swift. You'll find that these projects are pretty easy in Xcode too. Is it easy in Flutter? Maybe. I don't know if you get this nice physics. The last time I used Flutter, I don't remember the physics being this nice. So the bounciness of these horizontal scroll views. I don't think you get this in Flutter. Could be wrong though. I feel like Flutter is very similar to designing these Adobe Xd files. You just go like top down with your approach, and for the most part it's like pretty simple. Like I actually like Flutter. Do I know how to do a dashboard in Flutter? No. Don't ask me for anything advanced in Flutter. I just know how to put images on the screen and some labels and some text, and how to like download things asynchronously. Mr. Joe Yellow says that he does read the blog. I'm a beginner, and I'm extremely grateful for the content, hard work you provide. Yeah. I wouldn't say the work is that hard either. Providing these videos is actually pretty simple. The hard part is actually figuring out what kind of content to make. Making the videos themselves is the more enjoyable, easy thing for me to do. Trying to come up with ideas is hard. Once you have an idea, everything is like really smooth and simple. But yeah, here's what I'll say about YouTube channels. if you don't have an idea that you can make 400 videos on, then you're going to run out of content to produce on your channel pretty quickly. I know that when I made this channel, I know building out apps would be like a 20-30 video process. So there's no way I'm going to run out of content to make. You just make more. It's pretty simple. Now, once you have this formula down, you can just make your YouTube channel and you'll get a lot of subscribers and you'll get a lot of people watching. As long as your content's interesting. You obviously don't want to make boring videos. You have to have somewhat of a personality. I'm not saying that I have a great, interesting personality, but you gotta be able to provide people with value and things that they want to watch. The app looks nice, but I also like the filtering feature. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure how far I want to take that project. We'll see. What do I think about CloudKit? I think CloudKit is one of those services and features that tend to be overlooked, and they don't get the amount of credit that they deserve, because the Apple team spent a lot of time on those projects. CloudKit should be used more. I don't really recommend people that are building backends to necessarily look into Firebase first. Everyone wants to build out something that supports Android and like the web at the same time, but most of the time CloudKit can take care of your needs, like I would say 95% of the time. Like, honestly, most of your apps aren't really going to like touch an Android device anyways, right? Flutter is based on pixel control to me. I'm not even a mobile developer. I do mostly React for web pages and unfortunately PHP and Drupal. Flutter is based on pixel control to me. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Every type of UI programming language is based on pixel control. You can control the pixels just as accurately on Swift. Maybe even more so, because you have more control over things like width ratios. I mean, I assume Flutter has that also. Which language is better when compared to React Native and Flutter? If you have to ask these questions, then the answer that you're going to get isn't really going to be that helpful to you. Like, these questions are really just silly. I consider these the silly questions. You deserve to be put into the silly bucket. A timeout for you, Yashwanth. Like, who really cares? Reach out via Instagram. Okay. Looks like Anthony is spamming the channel here. What's the deal with React Native versus Native itself? I don't know. Go to Google research and figure it out. Honestly, no one gives a shit about React Native versus Flutter. If you can't figure out the difference between the two, then you probably have no business in even like using that technology in the first place. Wow. The problem with having beer on a live stream is that you have to go to the bathroom so often. Mapbox looks like a fun library. Any thoughts on an app project using Mapbox? A while back, I made a project using Mapbox. I put a screenshot of that project on my Twitter account. I don't know if I have the source code anymore. No, this is just the first bottle. I'm not a Flutter fanboy. It just seems pretty easy. I like using VS Code, I guess. I mean, everyone has their preference in regards to the IDE that they use. I personally really like VS Code as well. I build my entire website using the VS Code editor. So, I like it. But at the same time, I have like 10 different other editors on my screen loaded right now. So, and if you walk into a software organization and you walk into the computer programmers, the department, you look at the screens, you'll see all types of editors open, like the terminal, Emacs, like on the same screen of the single developer, you'll see many different programs open to code. 如果来 Montreal 你会睡个好觉的。希望吧。我发现我最近有点睡不着觉，可能是经常喝咖啡的关系吧。Why don't you consider doing some Golang tutorials? Skia. Golang tutorials. Why don't I consider doing that? That's a good question. So for people that don't know, the entire website on letsbuildthatApp.com is built using Golang. Why don't I make tutorials on that? I don't know. Should I? Should I make backend Golang tutorials? Is it gonna be easy? I don't know the best practices using Golang. I just know how to build it. Like, I know how to use it to build my own website. But the real question is, why would anyone choose to use Golang over something like Python or Node or PHP? I mean, I have my own reasons to use Golang, but for someone just learning backend as like the first language for a backend, would you guys really necessarily recommend using Golang? Honestly, I feel like Node is much easier to learn. But like, if you guys want some Golang tutorials, I can put that out too. It's not the easiest thing to do though. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to learn. Just building the content management system would be great. Doesn't have to be Go. Yeah. So how about a Node? Here's a project that I want to come up with. A Node.js e-commerce app that supports the content management of the products that you can put on your e-commerce platform. That I'll help you build out a React.js front end to manage your products. And then maybe to also manage your users. And then I'll also show you how to support that same application through the Node.js REST API. How to build out like a solid API so that you can purchase products, add it to your cart, check out using some system like most likely Stripe's API, like a credit card payment processor like Stripe. Integrate that, and you can do things like Apple Pay using Stripe also. Man, building out that would be fantastic, but the amount of time that I would have to invest in putting that together would be crazy. Your channel is a gem. Greetings from Lebanon. Thanks, man. Do you prefer Swift backend or Node.js? I've said this many times before, but I don't really recommend anyone learning Swift as a backend. At least not your first encounter with backend should, I would say, never be Swift. I know that's a pretty broad general statement, but having learned so many different backend languages, I think Swift ranks up there in difficulty to understand and set up. For example, if you're building out something with Node or Golang, you just need like 2 lines of code and you're up and running. With Swift, you have to do like a ton of shit. I don't recommend doing this ton of shit just to get your thing up and going. And furthermore, if you want help with your Swift backend, there's like no resources out there that can help you with the latest version of like Kitora or Vapor. That stuff's hard. Yeah, this stuff is kind of hard. So, make sure you choose the right platform. Node.js has been out forever, so that's what I like about it. K8, GraphQL, Docker, Python, and you'll get your 1 million subs. Yeah, I've never used GraphQL. I don't really know the advantages of GraphQL either. One of these days, I'll stop making Swift videos and I'll look at, that's the other thing that I've been thinking about. What if Swift just completely falls off the face of the earth and no one really wants to learn Swift anymore? I'll have to rebuild the entire website to be more general in terms of software development. That's going to happen eventually. I think I'm putting too many of my eggs in the Swift basket. Maybe. I've always wanted to produce Android and backend content, but as most of you guys can see, I get really caught up in not doing the work that I'm set out to do. I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same way too, right? You guys have these grand ideas that you want to put out into the world. However, when it comes down to actually putting in the work, like actually sitting down, coding, fixing your bugs, releasing different versions, keeping all of your code together, making sure your code base is maintainable, like all of that is not trivial. It takes a lot of effort to manage all of that together. It certainly helps if you have a couple of different teammates to make sure your projects come together. If you don't have teammates, it's just you sitting down in front of a screen, like what I'm doing most of the time. And if you are a type of person that needs like a support system around you, then I do suggest finding other like-minded developers to help you get started. I work better by myself because I don't like people. Is that a PC thing to say? I've had other people offer me their services. Okay, so here's another thing I'll say. If you're interested in helping out the channel and you want to like help out, send an email to me. If you can't find your email, then I don't want you to help me anyways. So I'm not going to tell you what that email is. There's plenty of ways to find it. And just send me an email and give some examples of what you can do. Like, don't just tell me that you want to help out. If you want to send that email, then don't bother sending that email because I won't reply to you. I actually need to see that if I'm going to hire someone or if I want you to join the team, then you have to be able to do something that I can't do myself. So, learning how to design something, I can do that. I can learn how to do that. Just spend the time, spend like 20 hours needed, and I don't need to hire a designer anymore. And if I need to learn how to code something that I don't know how to code, I'll spend 20 hours that and I'll learn how to do that also. But if there's a skill that I really don't want to learn how to do, like video editing, even then I can, video editing is hard. I need something that I can't do myself. Okay, so Soren says that I hate relying on third-party libraries, so I've started implementing my own networking libraries. Do I use Alamofire or have you written your own library? So I also don't like using third-party networking libraries either. Whenever I can avoid using Alamofire, I try to avoid it. But the last time I tried to write my own networking library, I realized that I was just writing out a lot of the same code that was already available and much better written in Alamofire. So there was really no point in me rewriting or reinventing the wheel that's already available for free in Alamofire. So for example, like posting multi-form, multi-part data objects using a network call, you don't want to write that by yourself. Even if you write some code that works to submit a post request, you look at the Alamofire code, it's much cleaner and you're going to have a lot of bugs in that code yourself. But having said that, it's a good idea to have written that code yourself so that you understand the problems of the things that you can run into. Long answer to that very simple question. What is my opinion on RX programming? I kind of like it. I like the idea of it. I don't like the implementation of RX Swift. So whoever that wrote the Facebook React.js library did like an amazing job at making it really easy to approach and learn and integrate it inside of your JavaScript projects. Whoever that did RX Swift, like, is a typical programmer way of doing things. Basically, programmers like to make things really abstract and overly complicated because that's just how things, like, that's how projects evolve. And if you're a newbie coming into RX Swift, you're not going to know what the hell's going on. Like all these, like, what do they call it? What do they call the variables in RX Swift? Like signals. So there's like 4 different types of signals that you can subscribe to. And I've read the documentation like 10 times. And I still won't be able to tell you what these signals do. Like, I know what the signals do, but I can't tell you off the top of my head what they do. Yeah, the observables. So there's the variable, there's the other one, and there's the 2 more other ones that allow you to subscribe to all the previous values of that particular observable. I think it's mostly because I don't have any type of real project experience with the observables and the bindable objects. And that's why I don't have this really concrete knowledge of how to apply this stuff. I feel like most people just use the variable. No, I think a variable has been deprecated. If you ever implemented interfaces in C# Java, you should understand protocols in no time. Watch Brian's videos and it'll be a snap for you. And also check Sean Allen as well. So protocols and interfaces are pretty much the same thing, right? It took me a while to understand. I think it took me a year of real world experience to understand the exact reason why people use interfaces. And then there's also abstract classes, which is only available in Java. I think C# supports abstract classes, right? But abstract classes are not available in Swift. So I feel like if abstract classes were available in Swift, it would make more sense as to what a protocol really is trying to do for you. But it's not available. So, I mean, you can kind of like fake an abstract class. And most of the time when I try to explain an abstract class, I realize that maybe I don't even understand what an abstract class is. Okay, let me try to give my best explanation as to why you would want to use a protocol. So imagine you have imagine you are Costco. So if you don't know what Costco is just a big warehouse that you can buy goods, right? That you can buy stuff. That's what I'm focusing on. So you go to Costco, you get your grocery cart, and then you wheel it around, you pick up groceries, and eventually you go to the cash register and you pay for things. And the way you pay is, let's say that you swipe your credit card, right? Well, the credit card system understands what your credit card is. So there's like some kind of protocol on the credit card system that takes in credit card, also takes in like cash, takes in check, maybe like a bank account or something. So it has these protocols that it follows, and it understands that if you give it a credit card, then yeah, it'll be able to process it. Now, if you go to the tire section of Costco and the gas section, or gasoline pump, you go there with a car and you try to pump gas. Well, that same, like the gas pump also has this payment processing thing, and that processor also follows the same protocols of taking in a credit card or taking in cash. So the gas pump is really different compared to the cash register, right? They're really two physically different things, but because they share the same functionality of taking in payments, then that's kind of what your protocol is meant to it's meant to consolidate that behavior into a single entity. And then if you didn't have this protocol, you would have to have two different types of like payment processing code. And I mean, you'll still have two different sets of code for the payment processing, but that protocol will serve as the way you interface between different objects that do the same thing. Is how I like to describe it. Let me know if that makes sense. I try to give my explanations with real world concepts, or like things that you actually come in contact with in the real world. Most people don't understand, like when you try to give these explanations using abstract ideas, it's really hard to understand. You can't really put your finger on things that, I think you guys get what I mean. Yeah, so Rikin Maharjan, when you say to loosely couple your code, like I know what that means, you know what that means, but if you're trying to explain to someone what a protocol is and you tell them it's to loosely couple your code, it's kind of like you looked inside of a dictionary and then the dictionary gave you, you're looking at a word and the definition of that word has another word that you don't understand. That's what this feels like. You try to give someone an explanation with something else that they don't exactly understand. That's the other real world example that I like to give. I've given enough explanations of abstract code concepts to enough people that whenever I start to utter words that they don't understand, I can see their face or their eyes just gloss over, and you can tell that you've already lost them. So whenever I tell people about auto layout and I tell them about these layout anchors, They're like, what? They never understand what that is. All right, so we are at an hour and 50 minutes right now. When you explain things, you need to make sure what level of your audience. You got to make sure what, how deep down the rabbit hole they've crawled. I think the problem with the education system is that when you're going into a class, not everyone has the same level of expertise on that subject. And the problem is the teacher has to teach the class to the lowest denominator. Denominator? Is that the right word? To the lowest level that people will understand the subject. And as the class progresses, like let's say midway through the semester, you'll start to see that half of the class is no longer there. And I feel like the class should start off with that filter system. Because when I was in college, I found that the classes that I was really interested in just started way too slow. Like I had already done all the research prior to going into the first day of class, and you're just wasting your time listening to the professor tell you things that you already know. Why am I talking about that? I need your guidance to learn further iOS development and getting a job as an iOS developer. I have intermediate knowledge of Swift. I created some basic apps in Xcode. So here's a beautiful comment that I like to make fun of. I'm gonna roast Baresh Makwana for now. I'm a student of BE in IT. I guess as a bachelor's degree in information technology. I need your guidance to learn further iOS development and getting a job as an iOS developer. I have an intermediate knowledge of Swift 4. I created some basic apps in Xcode. What do I want to say about this? How would you guys roast this person here? I'm in a roasty mood. I'm in a mood to roast people with their silly questions. You deserve to go in the silly bucket too. Okay, so here's what I'll say about this question here. Developers that already have a job, they never ask this type of question. Developers that are worth what they'll be paid, like 6-figure salary in the United States, which is a fine salary. They never ask these questions as to like, how do I get a job? I have some experience. Will you hire me? How do I figure out how to have people hire me? People that are hired and have jobs, they never ask this question. And you have to ask yourself why this is. Why do people that are good at what they do, why do they never have to market themselves? And you need to first figure out why that is and figure out how to get yourself to that level. Otherwise, you're constantly just you're meeting the lowest of the standards of being an adequate developer, and you'll always be stuck at the very bottom of the ladder. Right? Most people that are worth their salt, is that the phrase? That are worth their weight in gold. I don't think that's the right expression. That are worth their the money that you pay them. Let's just put it literally that way. They don't need to market themselves. They don't need to tell people that they deserve to be hired. They are already hired. And I feel like what do I feel like? What do I want to say? I don't like the attitude that beggars give off. Is that a harsh word? If you're looking for a job, you're kind of a beggar, right? And people don't want to hire beggars. Is the crux of what I'm trying to say. People don't want to hire beggars. Why would you want to hire a beggar? You wouldn't want to hire a beggar either. So make yourself not feel like a beggar, please. I guess that's all I want to say about that. Yeah. So that's just a roast. Don't take that seriously. Or don't. I'm not aiming that at a particular person. You know, I highlighted this comment, but I'm not aiming it particular at you, Bresh. I'm just trying to give you advice on what programmers, you know, the mentality of someone that has has a job. That's most people that have a job, they don't have this attitude. Like they don't market themselves that way. Yeah. Right. You want to get to the level where you don't have to market yourself. Okay, so let's build that app. Make it mobile. Make it mobile. So last year, during December, I had plans to make a mobile app. You know, maybe just for iPad for the website, or you know, support offline playback. I never got around to doing it. I don't really have an excuse as to why I didn't. Maybe this year I will. Like how he should improve himself. He should Google how to get a job. I see so many people that are kind of lost in the job hunting process. I can relate to a certain degree. And it's difficult for people that are not in the same boat to criticize. Like it's easy for us to criticize because we are in the position of having a job. So it's easy to say that, yeah, why can't you just get a job? You know, you homeless person, why can't you just get a job? A lot of people like to have that attitude. It's difficult. It's difficult to put yourselves back in that position where you didn't have a job. I think you must always improve yourself. Just go and make a small app and then just scale it to something bigger. Login, sign up, chat systems, push notifications, and you should easily get hired. So this is something that I always preach from Soren Miroe. Is that a French name? Mira. That's my French impersonation. There's something that needs to be said about people that developers that don't know how to get a job. It's kind of you're in a strange position because developers are very creative. It might not sound like a creative field, but developers are extremely creative in figuring out how things are done. And if you can't figure out how to get a job, I don't know, it really speaks to your development skills. Because the whole field of software development is just like figuring out how things work and how to get to the solution that you need. And finding out a job is just another one of these problems. So if you can't figure out the game, then how would I trust? Like how can I really depend on this person as a developer? That's the conundrum that you're kind of faced with. Most good developers have figured out the game already, right? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Brian has created the startup somehow. Yep. You're looking at the startup, baby. I'm a technical co-founder of a social media startup. Thanks for your great videos. Do you think that one can replicate snapshots filters using ARKit? Probably. I don't have a lot of experience with ARKit, but probably. Learn Unity and create online game apps. Yeah. Those are great ideas. Simple online fight. Yeah. Is there a best order to take my courses? So is there a best order to take my courses? As long as you have the basic knowledge of how a table view works, I think you can take any of the courses on the website. Or on the YouTube channel, for that matter. You don't really need to understand, like, you don't really have to have like a huge breadth of knowledge on iOS development. It's pretty easy. Yes, more experience and more jobs, and over time recruiters and companies will sell you out. Use LinkedIn and sites like that. Yeah. Stop roasting people, says Sam McKenzie. I'm not roasting people. I'm just giving my thoughts, my honest feedback on how the world really works. Somehow their mindset is bounded by the code instead of business. Yeah. Seek, not sell. Damn, you're not answering. I am your loyal subscriber. Crazy idea. You can make a course building the supporting app for the website. Yeah. Expose clean projects on Git to get hired. Is that? So send till. I don't see your comments at all. Okay. Yeah, the thing about getting a job is that once you have a job, you understand how easy getting a job is. And if you don't have a job, you think it's the hardest thing in the world. That's the dichotomy of getting a job. If you have it, it's easy. If you don't have it, it's hard. Which is, kind of ironic and funny at the same time. Yeah. Any other Kotlin related tutorials in the near future? Okay, if you guys want to see Kotlin Android content, let me know. What do you think of a Porsche? I'm not really a car person. I wouldn't mind having one of the new Tesla models, but I'm not exactly a car person. People can like cars. They're a fine thing to enjoy. It's just not really my thing. I'd rather just sit here and build computers and talk about CPUs and RAM and things like that. Nerd out on computer parts. Make video about my video tools, please. There's also like the Hackintosh video that I promised you guys that I was gonna make. Obviously that never happened. Can you build a backend service to persist data to support your client-side apps? Maybe that'll be my next project, a Node.js backend course that also has a iOS front end to it. I actually have a lot of source code for that already. I was working on that in the beginning of the year and never really released it. I asked about a real-time application without third-party support. What is that? Is that like a chat app? I think real-time apps are interesting to build because you have to support things like read receipts, real-time data that's being shared across multiple users. And it's really interesting. You have to get into sockets and how WebSockets work. But yeah. Have it use MySQL, please? Have it use MySQL, please? Would MySQL be better than NoSQL? So I was building out my Node.js server using MongoDB, and I was seeing how easy it is to use MongoDB as a data persistence layer. Now, I almost always prefer to use MySQL because it keeps your data in check and makes sure that it's consistent, and make sure that you keep the structure the way that it needs to be. I like doing that, but I can see how using MongoDB and NoSQL is easier. MongoDB. I might go with MongoDB. If you need help translating MongoDB into MySQL, it's not trivial. It's not easy. But I think using MongoDB, the trade-off, the ease of use for using MongoDB, it sort of outweighs the advantages of having MySQL, but only in the sense of making videos, because you're limited, or at least I'm limited by the amount of time that I can invest in making videos. MongoDB seems to be the easier choice. Why my background is always changing is because I keep on moving. I keep on moving from like my kitchen to my bedroom and then back. And then I just recently moved into a new apartment, and that's why things are changing here. So Got a Minute says that you haven't really used like MongoDB, right? So it works on, it's not really the web server. Like MySQL isn't the web server either. If you're using AWS or Heroku, MySQL is a separate layer that is on a different machine entirely. And MongoDB is exactly the same thing. It's just a database that's stored on a different machine. And it really has nothing to do with the web server. Yeah, so it runs in addition, or it's a service that you can run parallel with your web server. It says a database layer, nothing too complicated. So here's a question. Why did I decide to make videos with a camera? I run MySQL on the same server as my web server. You probably shouldn't do that though. So you're running like an EC2 machine? Is that what you're doing, or a Docker box? Yeah. I wouldn't run the same. I wouldn't run the database on the same machine, because the problem is if that machine stops working for whatever reason. So you use Linode. So why don't you use like a different database server? The thing about like most server architectures is that it's fine to use the same machine, but let's say you have multiple different servers trying to access your database. Then once that one server goes down due to like some unrelated service on your web server, then the entire database goes down and your entire service is kind of screwed, right? So you probably want to have it on a different server is my recommendation. But I do understand that the cost of running a different database server does cost extra. I realize that if a server goes down, the database will go down. So yeah. So, I mean, you realize the obvious flaws to that system, and you probably have your reasons to do it that way. MongoDB is a separate service that's hosted by MongoDB. Is that a company? And yeah, it's pretty easy. You get to set it up for free. And if you need to pay for it, then it's pretty cheap also. Do we agree that JavaScript is as bad as communism? Nope, I do not agree with that. I use JavaScript pretty much for the entire website. Well, it's React.js, but it's still JavaScript. I would rather not use a hosted database. That's why I run MySQL. I think for the most part, that's fine. If you expand your company and your services to encompass a lot of other features that are outside of your web server, then you'll probably need to expand that architecture a little bit. But I think, for 95% of things, for the online services that you run, having it on the same machine is okay. Use Docker Compose or Kubernetes to put the database on its own node. Yeah. You can't run MySQL as a web server. Well, obviously that's true. No one's saying that he's trying to run MySQL as a web server. It's just that the web server is on the same machine as the machine that contains the MySQL the service. Sam McKenzie. This is the same machine. It's not. No one's saying MySQL is a web server. Have you tried GraphQL? No, I haven't, but one of these days I'll have time to invest in GraphQL. Do I prefer Adobe Xd over Sketch? I don't have a lot of experience using Sketch, so yo, Otto, what's up, man? Just trying to hang out for a little bit. It's 12:22. All right, so I'm gonna end this stream in the next 5 minutes. So if anyone has any interesting questions, please post them up in the chat. I'll try to get to it. When will you start telling the design basics for which you are live streaming? That part of the live stream is kind of over. You can rewatch the stream whenever it's uploaded to the good old YouTube servers. Yep, you can have the same web server and database server on the same machine. Most people do it locally using that scheme. So whenever I build a website or add new features to it, I have a local instance of the database. I mirror it with some like mock-up fake data, and then that fake data is able to power the local development version, and it's all running off my computer, the same machine, so everything works out. But having said that, I let Heroku manage all my database and web server needs. I don't deal with that stuff. I could, but it's extremely cheap. Every month I pay $35 to host a database and also the Golang server. For me, $35 is it's really cost effective so that I don't have to manage my own EC2 boxes. I know managing that stuff yourself is probably cheaper, but I don't want to do it. I've done it before in the past, and it is not what I want to do. Interesting question, why? So the real question is, why would you want to host? The question is, why would you want to host your web server and a database on two separate servers in the first place? Way back in the day, that's how things used to work before SOA was the thing, right? So service-oriented architecture, where everything is kind of separated into their own microservices. Everything was kind of on the same machine. And then the internet expanded, it grew, and now everything's pretty much everywhere. It's mostly to be able to support the SLAs, the service level agreements. If something goes down, you don't want the entire service to go down, only certain parts of it. I used to work for a company that was into monitoring the services that an entire company provides. So we would have like these apps that had 1,000 nodes, and being able to separate everything out and figure out what part of the service is broken. That was a huge thing that we provided for other people or other companies. Do I speak any other languages other than English, like Swahili? No, I don't. I don't speak Swahili. Do I look like I speak? No, I don't speak Swahili. Nowadays, browsers enable autoplay with audio. Then how YouTube playing with video? I don't know. It's the Chrome browser. YouTube will. I don't know. I think audio is still disabled for Safari, right? I don't know. Where can I find information about your camera model? If you watch any of the videos on the YouTube channel, not these live streams, there should be a list of components listed out on the very bottom of each video description. At least the newer videos should have the description. Let's find it. It's GH4. Vinicius, have you worked with music player? So you probably don't want a pod. You just use AV player and avplayer.play or AV player set player item with your track URL, and then you say avplayer.play, and there you go. If you want more, if you want a lesson on how to do that, there's the podcast course down below. I think the YouTube course on the YouTube channel also has the AV player example. I don't know why this is like very easily Googleable. I'm gonna put you in the silly bucket too. If anyone asks the question that can be easily Googled, you deserve to go in the silly bucket. Okay, that's gonna be the stream for today. I think I'm all talked out. You can kind of tell my voice is kind of giving out on me, and I'll see you guys hopefully for the next stream. Mostly I don't know, maybe I'll do more of these design type of videos. Who knows? But that is it, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.